everyone. I'm going to do a video that I think it's probably a little risky for YouTube personality to do because I'm going to talk about a divisive subject in a non-divisive manner. I'm going to call it an undivision. I don't know that it necessarily qualifies as a unification. I'm just trying to undivide people a little bit and get people thinking about what is required to do that. Because I've deleted, I didn't delete, but I've uninstalled all my social media because the longer you're on social media, the harder it becomes to maintain friendships and relationships. And I think it has to do with division and people's just, I don't want to say unwillingness, but when all you're doing is twiddling thumbs to type. I mean, growing up, we used to poke fun of the kids that had to type with 2 fingers on a keyboard, and that's like all we can do now. There's no way you can have an intelligent conversation on social media. You can't. It is impossible. They won't let you. And when you do try to have intelligent conversation, then you are labeled as offensive and censored, which has happened to me numerous times for simply discussing my family's personal treatments and therapies with COVID. So with that in mind, I want to try and undivide people a little bit on some current events. And in doing so, I'm going to concede some territory. So for people that share my views, y'all may get a little mad, but understand where I'm going. And I'll tell you where I'm going. You have to give up some things to get what we want. So you have to give things up to get the things we want. And what do we want? To come to a damn agreement about stuff and move on, because agreeing is really important. And if you don't believe me, just look at the state of the country right now. Agreement is really important, and that means not getting your way all the time. Okay. In the news right now is there was a recent shooting in Colorado, 2 shootings, mass shootings, and so predictably, we're back to discussing assault weapons bans and gun control. I mean, it didn't take long. And I'm a native son of Texas, born here, lived here my whole life. I'm pro-gun. I'm not foaming at the mouth pro-gun. I actually don't own an AR-15 or anything like that. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers may or may not have noticed one or more firearms in the background of these videos that I do here in my office. And if you haven't noticed it, you'll see that there's a rifle right there. And it appears in every single one of my videos. And even though it looks scary, let me just bring it up here. This is it. It's quite the impressive, scary looking gun. I've got my scorecard right there. And it's got a light on it, so for hunting at night. But as big and scary as this thing is, it's not actually a real gun. It's an air gun. Yeah, that's right, air gun, like a BB gun. It's a pellet gun. And here's the magazine. You can see. Whereas this is empty, but that's basically it. And you can see there is a pressure gauge right there. And no, it's not an airsoft gun, and it's not a paintball gun. It's a legit air gun. It just happens to be constructed from parts made by rifle manufacturer parts here in America, because, support local businesses. I like to plink in my backyard. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do it with a little children's 7-year-old BB gun. I want something that's got the look and feel of a real gun. This is what I practice with, right? Now, I have other rifles, but for the most part, everything I do around here is air guns. And then that little red one back there, that one's actually loaded and ready to go. It's a Nerf gun, okay? So that's what I've got here. Now, how do I feel about real guns? No different than I feel about those. They've never shot anybody. They've never killed anybody. It's never decided to just go out and shoot anything or hurt anything. But this is where I want to discuss and cede some territory and give up a few things to the people who are pro-gun control. And here is why. We actually want the same things, if you can believe that. We're convinced that we don't, but we do, because sane, normal people all think the same way. Keep these things out of the hands that they don't belong in. The issue is not gun control. What it comes down to is safety. Plain and simple. And the problem that I see, and the problem that I have with the pro-Second Amendment arguments is this. We're not actually stepping up to the table with ideas on how to improve safety. In other words, we're not coming in saying, yeah, you know what? The rights to firearms shall not be infringed, but they definitely need to be safer, and we have some ideas on how to do that. And ideas that don't include carrying more guns and walking around with more guns, and an armed society is a polite society, right? That idea has been around for a while, and we're still here. So we need to actually start thinking a little different and have new thoughts and new ideas. And the way that media prevents that from happening is by simply recirculating the same ideas that have gone nowhere. And new ideas just are not trumpeted. Nobody is blasting out new ideas on safety. They're blasting the same ideas over and over that don't work. And people get so entrenched that they don't see this illusion, this intentional dividing of the masses. But that's how it works, right? We know that they purposefully use terms like assault weapons bans and assault weapons. And we know that the gun lobby always says the same thing: the right shall not be infringed. Okay. The only way this is going to go anywhere is to come up with new ideas instead of what's being talked about. And ultimately, I'll say this: the only way that anything is gonna move forward is to take a re-examining of the Second Amendment. Why not improve it? I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm not saying to place restrictions on people. I'm saying we should get some of our brightest and greatest minds together to re-examine it with new ideas. None of the old ideas allowed. Just get some of our great thinkers. I mean, shit, throw Elon Musk in there, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. Just kidding. But let's get some of our good minds in there, like some of our smartest icons, like Cardi B. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, that's what we need. None of the old ideas allowed. New ideas on safety. And I've thought long and hard about this. And I'm sure some of you are furiously commenting, or you're sitting there with a comment in your draft, but I really want you to think about this. Decades ago, we had a problem where kids were getting into medicine cabinets thinking that medication was candy and eating medicine and dying horrible deaths. What did we do? We made child-proof caps. Solved. Decades ago, we had problems with kids getting smashed and destroyed on pavement, getting turned into ground meat because of no seat belts. What did we do? We added seat belts. That wasn't enough. We made car seats. Okay, we even made helmet laws for motorcycle riders. Not that it was mind control or anything like that or a government overreach, but we share the road with people, and nobody's 7-year-old kid should have to see a grown man's brain splattered across their windshield if he hits the front of their car, right? It's terrible. So, whether or not you choose to live or die is one thing, but the rest of us don't want your brain coming out of your skull and traumatizing our children. We don't. And so throughout human history, we have made such compromises. This is what I think as a gun guy, and I'll be the first to say this. If we can make child-proof medicine bottles, come on. There's no reason that children ought to be able to pick up a gun and operate a firearm. They can't operate a medicine bottle. I mean, come on. Gun manufacturers aren't really trying to make child-proof guns. They ought to, and they should. That's common sense. Can't do much about teenage school shooters or anything like that, but we also haven't put much thought into it. And I don't have those answers, but we have some intelligent freaking people. Put them in a room. And like I said before, no old ideas allowed. Don't come out of that room telling us things that we already know don't work. I'm for it because it doesn't matter whether you're pro-Second Amendment or pro-gun control. At the end of the day, we want to be able to coexist safely where bullets don't end up in the wrong people. That's something we can all get on board with. And I think we can do it without talking about things like assault weapons banned and Biden's coming for your guns. No, he's not. But if he does, he'll learn real quick that he probably shouldn't. It'd be a terrible idea. But I hope y'all see what I'm getting at. This is a problem that is everywhere. Whenever there's a division, it's an intentional construct that is there strictly to prevent us from solving a problem for ourselves. Because in the absence of that construct, that is what we naturally do. We naturally want to coexist. We naturally strive to be accepted and to be part of a group. Well, I mean, we naturally come together to solve a specific problem. And we see this with natural disasters. We saw this post 9/11. We were all united. Get Osama, right? We all came together then. And then the TSA happened. And we were like, they're taking our freedom and everything like that. And then we got divided. And I mean, we still have the TSA now, and it's just an accepted part of culture now. But it wasn't for a long time. There's a better way of being a society. There's better ways of being a culture. I truly believe this. It starts by rejecting your own views, your own position. You have to do two things: reject your own position and reject the position that you're told is your opposition. Reject them both because they're both wrong, and we know they're both wrong because nothing has been solved. See, you're wrong and they are also wrong. And a matter of fact, everybody is wrong until we come to a workable solution. Then we're mostly right. There's still going to be people that disagree. But we need to shed some skin and grow, right? So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a patriot or a libtard or redneck, white supremacist, militiaman. You ever notice that term just suddenly went away? They elected Biden, and all of a sudden there's no more talk about white supremacists or militias, or white supremacist, alt-right militia. Where did they go? You think they just suddenly said, hey, we're not doing this anymore? No. Those people are still doing the same things they've always been doing. Let that be a wake-up call to you that what you're being told about other people is categorically false. People don't just do that. Hey, you know what? We got a new president now. Pack him up. We're done. We're done with the whole white supremacist militia alt-right thing. Let's go back to being conspiracy theorists, far-right conspiracy theorists. Is that what we're going with now? Yeah, great. That's who we are now. No. People don't behave that way, but news cycles do, and media does. So as we go through this next presidency, as we see these divisive topics come up, I want you guys to do two things. Reject your current position and reject the other position. Because if you are hearing about it, then you automatically know they're both wrong. And if you accept that, and if we get enough people doing that and thinking that way, maybe we can actually solve some problems. I don't know. Maybe people will just label you weird. Some weird air gun having dude that talks to his phone on YouTube on a Friday. I'm fine with it. It's not so bad. Thanks for listening. Do sound off in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think. I'll see y'all on the next video.